got Greg Gutfeld out there running interference for Donald Trump during the impeachment. And what this shows is that, like, look, impeachment is obviously it's a political process, and they know the Republicans are not going to vote for Donald Trump. They also are aware that there's a price to be paid for that, and not going to vote for impeachment, and they know there's a price to be paid for it. That's why you hear them flacking for him. Here is Greg Gutfeld on the 5.
The problem here is if you demonize people long enough, other people will act on it. The warfare won't stop until both sides police their own sides. So the Democrats have to take violence from Antifa and BLM as seriously as the Republicans did for the Capitol, right? See, it's easy for Republicans, right? Because they come out of the womb pro-law enforcement. So they find everything that violates the law, left or right, to be offensive, right? And including a one-off at the Capitol that has never happened among Trumpers, right? So, but remember, what we're learning here is that only the left can call for revolution, only the left can overthrow and demonize, and only the left can riot, loot, and destroy. And that's because they have the implicit backup of the media, because they all believe that the personal is political. If your heart's in the right place, you're not evil. How did communism kill 100 million people? Because their heart was in the right place, and they had people in the media, Americans, defending them in the name of equality. And they do reach equality in the terms of equally all dead.
Jesse, the one big problem with this issue of hypocrisy on violence, condoning one kind of violence while refusing to condemn the other, is that it's about standards, and it's about fairness, and it's about treating these things equally. And we're not seeing that at all when it comes to the media and Democrats who are now impeaching President Trump, when you could argue Maxine Waters should also be impeached for the things that she has said.
What? All right, well, no points.
All right. Well, first off, Greg's sitting there, and the guy's taking notes on this. I mean, it's so embarrassing because he's all over the frickin' place.
Yeah.
And you had Republican lawmakers who were crashing that Capitol. The relationship between Democratic politicians and Antifa or BLM, it's absurd that you're drawing that analogy. And A. And B, it's fundamentally, first of all, the idea that he is referring to the attack. You could easily call it the attack on the Capitol Police if you wanted to.
And they would if it were reversed.
They killed a Capitol Police officer. They maimed like a half a dozen. We had a guy lost his eye. You had people who were seriously injured in their limbs. You had one guy heart attack. I mean, the guy's talking about how Republicans come out of the womb with respect for police officers. You're literally talking about an attack on the Capitol Police Force.
And again, the insistence that Antifa is behind all of this violence and destruction, when white supremacists were behind a significant majority of domestic terrorist attacks in 2020. I think the number is 67%. It's so counterfactual that it's ridiculous, but they are masters at this, getting the talking points from down high, from up on high, and making it into a reality and making it into a political conversation, as if Antifa has killed anybody. Has there been the Antifa killing anybody? Reports of that in the media, and yet when white supremacists and Q people kill a cop, they're precious cops. Zip.
And did they ever give a statement? Did the police union ever come out and say, how dare these people storm the Capitol and kill our own? Isn't that what the leadership usually does? When what was it, that poisoning happened, that supposed poisoning?
Well, I mean, let's also be clear too. I mean, we know what BLM, we know what Antifa are protesting. And to the extent that there was violence, it was not the point of the protest. What was the point of that so-called protest at the Capitol? The point of the protest at that Capitol was to literally amass and crash the Capitol to intimidate the lawmakers so that they wouldn't vote to certify the election. I mean, let's be clear on what the intent was here too, right? I mean, the intent was to commit a violent act. That was the point of that protest. The intent was to go in there and intimidate those lawmakers from doing a rather banal function, which is just to sign off on the election results as they were. And the idea was not to go in and, I don't know what BLM protest was. We're going to go and hang the local constable or something, or whomever it is.